This is for my brother Joe, because he deserves more than the paragraph he got when he died 43 years ago in 1970. Gone but not forgotten. In memory of my brother Joseph Frank Vargo, born April 6, 1965 to September 20th, 1970. I am writing this letter to the hit-and-run driver that took the life of my brother on September 20th, 1970 in Harmony, PA. Joey was just 5 years old. Until that day, he hadn't lost a tooth. I know you must have seen him in just those few seconds before the accident. If you knew him, you would have stopped, so I'm assuming you did not. Here are a few things I'd like to share with you about Joey, my family, and myself. Joey was a beautiful little boy with golden blonde hair, and his eyes were as blue as the sky. Joey couldn't wait to start kindergarten that year. He missed the first 2 weeks because of chickenpox. He was so excited to get started that Mom bought him a little bow tie, blue, to wear for his first school picture. Instead, he wore it at his funeral. Joey could recite any nursery rhyme and sing along to every song on the radio. He especially loved Johnny Cash, I Walk the Line. I'm sure you couldn't have known this, but we lost our father the year before, and our grandfather the year before that. I remember our father being very sick. He would call out to Joe, telling him, "Get ready, Joe, you're coming with me." We didn't make too much of it at the time. My father was dying of cancer and had tumors throughout his brain. He died in 1969, the same year my brother John Clyde was born. Little did we know that Joey would be gone a year later. I'd like to mention my grandmother Isabel Nettle from West Newton, who passed away 5 years after Joe because of heart failure. We've lost so many family members and friends, but the loss of Joe was overwhelming. We were broken, some of us more than others, myself included. Joey wanted to be so many things when he grew up: a prince or soldier, a fireman or police officer, but most of all, he loved all things cowboy. He wanted to be a cowboy. My mother actually bought him a horse named King after my father's passing, hoping somehow it might mend a broken heart or maybe ease the pain we were all feeling. Joey had 6 brothers and 2 sisters: John, Sam, George Paul, Anthony, Primo, Adrasto George, Elizabeth, and myself, Renee. As it turned out, that horse wouldn't let anyone ride him but Joe, and boy could he ride. He was our little prince upon the king's back. Joey was kind and gentle with all creatures, big or small. He was a happy-go-lucky kid. When he wasn't whistling, he was talking to anyone and everyone that would listen. He touched so many lives in such a brief time. Joey was truly loved and adored by everyone who knew him. We, the family and friends of Joe, have talked for many years about what happened that day. We know it was an accident. I can't imagine anyone setting out to harm a 5-year-old with a 2-ton vehicle. I know it wasn't intentional. I think about it often. I think about Joe, and then I think about you. I wonder if you're still out there. And then I go to calculating. If I'm 50 years old now, and I was 7 when it happened, and you were 10 years older, that would have made you 17 at the time, a frightened, inexperienced driver and practically a kid yourself. But now you're 59 to 60 years old. If you were 20 years older than me back then, that would have made you around 27. Maybe you were speeding, drinking, or just not paying attention to the road. In any case, that would make you about 69 to 70 years old now. Or maybe you were older and you're no longer with us, but one thing's for sure, you were out there. I wondered what you must have gone through hiding such a terrible secret. How did you cope? Did you pray and simply ask for forgiveness and think all would be well? I can assure you that's not the case. Time does not heal all wounds. I know what suffering is. I know what it feels like to be in a dark place, on a lonely road, or feel like you've fallen into the depths of hell, because I've been there. I looked for you there, in the dark. I looked for you everywhere, and I did not find you. and I'm not going to look for you anymore. I'm in a much better place in my life now. I'm going through recovery, drug-free for 8 years, and there's still time to redeem yourself, you know. My mother's health is failing now. She's 85. She's had diabetes, 4 strokes, and a pacemaker put in to help her heart. Sometimes I still hear her crying at night. She still prays and hopes that she will live to see justice for Joe. I cry, but my prayers are for peace and forgiveness. I pray you find peace. I've held on to so much pain and anger for too many years. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't hold you responsible for the things that's happened in my life. I hold myself accountable. I had no coping skills. I made bad decisions and poor choices that had nothing to do with you. But today, I'm doing much better. That being said, I want you to know that I will not spend one more minute of my life thinking about you. I choose instead to think of my brother. This letter is to inform you that today I am letting go of all the rage, anger, and resentment that I've held on to for all these years. I want to say, I forgive you. On April 6, 2014, I will be in Harmony, standing on that street with blue balloons and a candle, celebrating the life of and remembering my brother Joseph Frank on his 48th birthday. I hope you come. I hope you hear this letter.